Okay, so I guess we're live. I think so. Okay, so Facebook ads. I read a lot of messages and I hear a lot of people saying, Facebook is dead, Facebook here, Facebook there, and nobody's on Facebook anymore. But Facebook is still the biggest social network around. And there are, of course, better social networks and more popular social networks now. Blue Sky now is exploding, and X and whatever. But where consumers are still taking decisions is mainly on Facebook and Instagram. So where conversions are happening in terms of people deciding to buy something because of Facebook pages, because of Messenger, because of the ecosystem of Facebook. And it's not a place for nerds or very techy people nowadays. Yes, that I certainly agree. But it's still very, very good for conversions and for, I would say, consumers in general. So I'll spare you the details of showing that Facebook is still super big and even larger than YouTube. But if you combine Facebook with Instagram, you can see it's by far the biggest ecosystem possible. WhatsApp is inside the same ecosystem. You can do ads on WhatsApp. So you can see how big it is. And if you go a little bit down, you see the Facebook Messenger as well, and you can do ads there as well. So if you combine all these users, of course, there's some overlapping and whatever, but it's definitely the biggest ecosystem for advertising, for online advertising in terms of social network. And we can talk about connected TVs and other stuff, but this doesn't matter right now. So, but what is exactly Facebook? I mean, the social network, okay, but when we think about doing ads on Facebook, we are thinking about this algorithmic, there's probably a typo here, display window. Probably H here, maybe. Yeah, kind of makes sense. Maybe, but yeah, it's an algorithm display window. This means that there's an algorithm reigning and ruling there, yes, but eventually they are selling spaces where people can play stuff. At the same time, they can decide what gets shown and what is better for them to show, because they want you, the advertiser, to spend money, and they want their users to be happy and spend money buying stuff, but spending time on the platform. This is extremely, extremely important. And this is the concept that should drive every initiative that you do on Facebook and Instagram. So users should spend as much time as possible and consequently watch as many ads as possible, right? And advertisers, of course, should get something called ROAS or MER. We can discuss this later, what it is, but it's the return on ad spend. So I spend some money buying ads and I want some money back. Hopefully more money than what I spent. Hopefully a lot more money than what I spent. So the goal of Facebook is to make both happy, because they want users to spend time there, so ads are shown, and advertisers are happier to spend more money. So it's not true that they don't want you to succeed. Of course, they want you to succeed, but you need to help them. So you need to do your own work, your own due diligence to provide the best possible ads, the best possible material for Facebook to actually deliver your ads and bring you conversions and make their users happy. So it's all connected, right? So this is the main concept to master. If you master this concept and you enter in this kind of mindset, then things can be definitely easier, and then you can go in creating ads and choosing audiences with a fresher approach. So the most important thing, there are a lot of most important things, but another very important thing is that your goal as the advertiser is to, again, give high quality material, high quality ads to for their display window for Facebook. But at the same time, for you, you need to feed the algo. So you need to give as many data points as possible to the algo to match your ads to the right customers. And there's technical way, of course, to do this, but the way Facebook works and the way Instagram works is basically looking physically, scientifically at your images, at your ads, and saying, okay, this user is good for this ad, and I will match, right? Don't think too much about audiences, about bidding and stuff. This is at the lowest level or highest level. This is how it works. And how can you do that? So you need to give to Facebook the right data and as much data as possible, possibly the right data and the highest quality data. You can do that through a pixel, through the conversion API. So this thing that you see here, you can upload your customer data. For example, you can upload your conversions back to Facebook and say, Facebook, find me users that are similar to these users that are converting. So you are literally saying Facebook, telling Facebook, hey, Facebook, I'm hungry for this kind of users, for this kind of events, what you can do for me. And of course, the whole experience from the ad, so the pre-click experience and the post-click experience should match and should be as high quality as possible. So the ad should be good, the copy should be good, the image should be good, the video should be good, but also the landing page experience, because they value that as well. When you have your pixel, your conversion API installed in your landing page, Facebook is checking what you're doing there. And the whole experience has to be good in terms of quality, in terms of technical level, and so forth. On the other end, this is kind of the post experience, or like the technical setup. On the other level, the pre-click experience or the click experience itself is where you create ads. So you create your visuals. That could be video, carousels, images, catalog ads, and so forth. And how can you produce the highest quality possible? Well, this is an art, and this is not trivial at all. But there are shortcuts. For example, you can always check what others are doing, what other advertisers with more budget and way more experience than you are doing, and sort of copy or reverse engineer what they're doing. So you can check successful brands, or even very nice advertisers, or very like controversial advertisers, because most likely they are more advanced in their journey in creating ads. And creating ads is a lot of work. You cannot say, okay, I create a couple of ads and that's it. Creating ads comes with a long testing phase for what works, what doesn't, and what works today might not work in 1 week. So you always need to feed the algo and feed your clients as well with good ads and fresh ads. This comes from, let's say, a perspective of always giving fresh angles, but also it comes from a perspective of always telling Facebook that you are a good advertiser and an advertiser that is trying to literally create new content. This counts as well. So let's keep 1 second out from the create good ads part, and let's go back 1 second to the algo. So in the past, there was a lot of there were a lot of marketers doing lots of weird structures in terms of ad sets and campaigns and ads duplicating the same asset 25,000 times and so forth. What we now works actually is be as simple as possible, actually, like simplify as much as possible. Is it the same for Google Ads? Before, it was like super complex structures of accounts and campaigns. Now you tend to simplify, because on the other end you have these algorithms that are very powerful, and there are like pushing, sort of doing the heavy lifting for you, and in a way you can't really control them. So what you need to do is just provide the best content possible and let the algo find your audience for you. So there's a rule: the good content goes to good users. What does it mean? It means that if you produce let's go back to the display concept, the display concept of Facebook, like a big display window. If we produce something that is not good, Facebook is not sort of motivated to show it to users. And if they want your money, so they take your money, but they say, okay, I will show it to shitty users, so users that are not likely to convert. So the better your ads, the better your chances to actually get conversions. It might sound incredible or not really realistic, but this is it. It's not just a matter of money and bidding and winning auctions. It's a matter of producing and giving Facebook the right things to work with. And you have a partial control on this, because you can say, okay, I want to show the ads only to people interested in cats or interested in football or whatever. Yes, you can do that. But nowadays, the best thing, and everybody is saying that, and probably you heard already, the broad audiences, at least in the very first phases of your journey, are what works. And how can you take leverage of these broad audiences? Is creating content, and is giving good content that works. So I wrote here, don't waste time with interest. This is partially true. We will see that we can create a campaign with interest, and there are a lot of campaigns that actually work very well with interest, but we don't need to think anymore of narrowing down from the very beginning. We need to let Facebook work. And again, the goal is to let Facebook understand what your product is about and what a conversion looks like for you. So if you feed your pixel, and Facebook understands what a good conversion is for you, is able to give you conversions back. Okay, and this is very, 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 very important. So we are mentioning here placements. I mean, we don't need to do that, but maybe we can spend a couple of minutes talking about the funnel, right? Let me check if I'm actually sharing the right thing here. Yeah. So you can't force people to buy faster. I mean, we were joking with my friend Nestor on this. He could actually, he want actually to do that with a promotion, and we can talk about Black Friday and stuff. You can for sure make the process a bit faster. On the other end, what I mean here is that every product, from the simplest product to sell to the hardest product to sell, has a sort of conversion cycle and a sales cycle. So it's very hard to sell a car. It's very hard to sell a watch, for example, because you need multiple touch points and so forth. Maybe it's easier to sell a cream or to something that is like $10. But you can't really force a customer in this decisional process, because maybe the customer needs a bit more time to decide, or is not ready is not in the right spot of the journey, is not in the right step of the journey when they come to know you. So you always have to assume that if you're not an established brand, you need first to work on your brand and something called brand awareness. So you need to make customers aware that you exist and that you have product, that you provide a service, and so forth. Putting more money can't really accelerate this. Yes, you can sort of broaden your awareness. You can have more touch points. You can have more platforms. Yes, that it works. But scaling from the very beginning vertically, so with more budget in a Google campaign, in a Google or Facebook campaign, doesn't work. And you will just burn more budget, and customers, you will just sort of feed more information to your customers, and these customers are not ready to buy. So you need to be aware of your ideal journey, how much it takes, how many touch points it takes. And this is, again, another very, very, very important part. So, and you have to think of yourself. You don't buy things the second you see an ad, right? Unless you know already that brand, or you know already what's going on, or you've been thinking about this brand for a long time, or this product for a long time, or maybe a short time. But there's always a sort of funnel and sort of time where you need to make up your mind and decide about buying something. That's why the multi-channel approach is very important, because we need to think about customers in their journey. And your customers, they might get in touch with you the first time with Facebook, and then they search on Google, or they are somewhere else. They saw your ads in different times. So there's, when you have budget, what you tend to do is have a very sort of different and complex strategy. So you might do some influencer marketing, you might do some Google ads, you might do some display ads on Google, you might even go to connected TVs ads, and so forth. So brands, they try to multiply their touch points with potential customers, because this is what works, and this is what can speed up things, or create more awareness, more knowledge of your brand, and of course convince users to convert. This should be your approach as well. And this is not just paid ads. You can work on your marketing in several ways. You can have a newsletter, of course. You can have social networks. You can have a Facebook page, organic, that just posts things. You can do SEO and so forth. So leveraging as many channels as possible is the key to, of course, spend less money, because here's another trick. The more organic traffic you bring to your properties, the more the pixel can work and understand about your customers. So the pixel doesn't care initially if a conversion happens from Facebook, or from an organic channel, or from a friend of yours. They just learn what a conversion is, and this conversion then can be sort of categorized and brought back to Facebook, where we'll have more awareness, more knowledge of what a conversion is. So it's important that every possible way of bringing traffic you leverage, right? Yes, I mean, this is kind of a sort of thing that is not true. I mean, but when you think of creatives, you can think of Facebook a bit more down to earth. Instagram, you can go a bit in a different direction. Google, of course, with the search part, so just text, you need to be kind of a bit more serious, but not really. Also with words, you can go crazy. So it's important, going back to the funnel thing, it's important to know your funnel. So know how many steps, and in general, on average, how many steps it takes, how many interaction with your brand, with your website it takes to arrive to a conversion. But also know, for example, how much time your users are spending on your website. In which pages are more, you have more visitors there, you have more average time spent there. And this is super important, not just for ads, but for you in general, to adjust things, to change things on your landing page, and to get more knowledge of what your user experience looks like. Be aware that Facebook will try to attribute more conversions. Almost every time they try to attribute more conversions than what they really bring. Don't care too much about that. You will need to measure not just from the Facebook dashboard, but from some sort of third party that is a bit more precise, like Google Analytics or Postdog or some other kind of analytics that is like platform agnostic. Okay, so speaking of measuring, your Facebook dashboard will be your where you will see pretty much everything, and you will need to master this tool. It's kind of easy. It looks like intimidating, mostly because Facebook changes the interface every 3 weeks. Not like maybe on every 3 months, but they always change names, move things. Now they are going into this business suite approach, and it's not the business manager anymore. And you might have a old interface, a new interface, and so forth. But what you will see is pretty much always the same stuff. And what really matters, the metrics that really matters, are easy to reach, and you can create your own dashboards. We will see probably in another episode of the masterclass how to create your dashboards, what matters at what phase of the funnel. So you will look more into the CTR. When you are trying to evaluate the ads, you will look more, of course, at conversions and purchases or add to cart when you try to understand if your product is working or not, if your landing page experience is working or not, and if your pricing is working or not. So these values can tell you a lot about the pre-click experience, the click experience itself, and the post-click experience. So, and one thing, one very important thing is that you will have mainly 3 or 4 type of ads. If we simplify, is like a bit two. If you exclude the catalog ads, but you will have the static images type of ads, and you have the video ads. And there's, of course, different things to measure and different ways to measure. And some you will need some custom metric to really understand, for example, the hook rate of a video and these kind of things. Because when you create a video, we will get there, you need to understand if users are hooked to the video itself. If we go back to the display, blah, blah, blah thing, users, you need to stop the feed of the users. So if your video is not able to communicate or have a very strong hook in the very first second, even before the full second, we are talking about milliseconds. If you don't give this strong signal to the user, if you don't provoke some kind of emotional reaction in the user, then you won't win the click, and you will lose the chance to convert. So we will look into this kind of stuff. For like today, I want to be very, very short as an experiment that probably don't have any live viewer right now. It's just for me an experiment to start with this journey. And there's a lot to say. Most courses are like, okay, let's do the campaign. As you can see, we didn't touch the business manager yet, or we didn't look into anything, rather than just explaining what is Facebook in its inner nature. And I think this is a very important concept to master. If we don't understand that concept, then we will start making random ads, and nothing will work. Speaking of ads, there's something I wanted to discuss here. And if you follow me on X or read my newsletter, you saw this already. The ads are the most important part. That is clear. I think I remarked this and told this a fair amount of times right now. What is very important is when you create your ads, you are aware of why you are communicating something and what is the goal, your goal and the goal of the customer. So if you don't connect to the customer, with the customer at the goal level, you won't be able to get the conversion. You can have a very good ad, but if this experience is not driven by feeling, yes, they can land on your landing page and you can still be successful, but you won't have high chance, the highest chance to convert the customer. So you really always need to frame a problem. So the customer has to see the ad and say, okay, this is my problem. Okay, I'm synced with this advertiser that is showing me this. So I know I have this problem, and this maybe is able to solve this problem, this whatever, service, product, and so forth. You need to show, but you just don't need to show only the problem. You need to show the triggers, what I call triggers. I mean, I didn't invent anything. This has been discussed in several marketing books and so forth, but we are applying a bit more onto the Facebook ads here. And the outcome. So you always have to visualize where the user will end up after clicking and after buying your product. So you don't need to say, okay, I will solve your problem and that's it. You need to communicate and show how the customer will feel, or which kind of status the customer will reach after buying your product. And so you need to think on the customer, on the why they want to solve their problem. And the why is strictly connected to the outcome, to the final sort of status. And you can think of many examples. You can think of creams for the face, for example. You don't need to say, okay, I will solve your problem, but I will solve your problem so you will be able to ask this person out for a date, or you will be more confident and so forth. You need to visualize this thing. Or if you have curly hair, we will make your curly hair, you will make your curls incredibly good. And you can think about it. In my newsletter, I was mentioning this Porsche ad, where they visualize how you will feel when you go to your class reunion and everybody will see you with a Porsche and they say, "Oh, this guy made it." This can sound trivial and this can sound a bit cheesy, but this is what moves the world. The world is moved by primal instincts. We want to we want to eat, we want to sleep, we want to have sex, and we want to be successful. So these things move us every day, and advertising is trying to leverage our needs and our instincts in this way. And the way to do that, as we were discussing already, is to literally appeal to your own inner instincts, your own primal instincts. So if you, in your ads, can appeal and can reach these instincts of your users, then you're already winning. Okay, this is, I repeat for the 100th time, this is the most important part. It's not easy, but this is the most important part. So when you make your ads, you need to connect your brain and not just say, okay, this is a nice picture, or I'll make a funny video or whatever. Okay, it can work. But if you don't apply this framework to your ads, because you won't produce just one ad, you will need to produce, I would say, if you're very serious, hundreds of ads. And you will need to work on your angle. You will need to test small part of the ads, small part of the copy, small part of the image to see what really works. And when you work with big budgets, even a change of an angle or change of something small in an image might be a 5%, 10% lift in conversion rate, meaning it could be, a lot of money, depending on the volume, on the budget invested, and what you're selling. So I will share this somehow, so everybody that see the video can have access to this document. But keep in mind this part. So create angles based on the triggers of the users and design creative space on the outcomes. This is very important. We will do one part of the masterclass for sure, designing ads together for some kind of brand, maybe with the live client. So thinking of let's see, I would say let's do another 5-6 minutes, and then we wrap up for this first part. So we talk about measuring. Let's quickly talk about creating good ads, just as a brief overview of what good ads are and what ads means for Facebook. So I was mentioning you have mainly two type of ads, like images, static images, and you can have these carousels. You for sure saw where you have several steps. You can build a story on that and so forth. But videos are probably the most powerful, most powerful way to show something, and most immediate. Your mission is always to stop the scroll in the feed, for example, but even when somebody is looking through Reels, and this is for Instagram and for Facebook as well. Most users now, they're not even using the feed, they're just on stories, on Reels, and just scrolling. And there are so many strategies, so many techniques to stop the feed and to create tension and to hook the customer in the very first seconds. We will look into them. Some of them are easier to visualize. Some of them are very complex, and you might not even notice when you sort of clash into them, but they're there. They are. These ads are not random at all. They are very, very engineered as they are. And we are lucky when it comes to ads because we have something called the ad library. Facebook has a public library of all the ads that are published. And in these ads, again, we will dedicate probably one lesson to all the ads libraries, and because Google has the same, TikTok has the same. These you can literally see what others are doing. You can search for a Facebook page or for a brand and find what users are, what these brands are publishing and using as ads. And if you are strategic on this side, you can even see when they stop an ad and when they publish some new ads. So if you sort of spy on them with a scientific approach, you can see their own journey. And they can see if they stop an ad, probably this won't work. And you can say, okay, this type of ad, they stopped it for some reason. Maybe there's something going on, and you reverse engineer that ad and you understand what was actually wrong with it. So spying on others and reverse engineering what others are doing is a very good way to create ads. The other way, and let's wrap up on this concept, the other way you would need to master is testing yourself, because there's not a single ad that works for everybody. There are some type of content that work better. You probably heard of UGC and user-generated content and this kind of thing, testimonial ads or memes, or, there are type of ads, not like type, but type of content you can put in ads that work better than other things. But on the other end, for each and every product, each and every audience, you never know what is going to work. So you need to test your creatives with your product, with your services, whatever, with the audiences you want to target, and see what sticks on the wall, what works and what is promising, and keep iterating on those type of ads, angles, and so forth. So you have different levels of things you can test. You can test the image itself, you can test the headline, you can test the text and description. These are minor things. The most important thing will always be the visual for Facebook and Instagram. But in the visual, you can also put text. You need to create a visual that is well composed, that it tells a story, that it brings logically and emotionally the user to click on the call to action. And the call to action itself has to be the right one. Again, these are details that most users don't look into, and most users spend, I don't know, $150 or even $500. They just put some random ads and they say Facebook is not working for me. But this has to be treated in the proper way. So I'll try to teach you all this stuff, and you will be for sure a better marketer, but also better designer, and a better sort of cognitive and behavioral scientist in a way, because advertising is again what moves the world. And if we master the sort of psychology, but also the literally the engineering of advertising, we can do great things, not just on Facebook, but also on every other platform we want to leverage to promote our product or service. So I will wrap up here, and hopefully I'll see you for the second part. I think it won't just be part one, part two. It will be more than one, because you see, there's a lot to discuss. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this first part.